So is this journal visible to you guys? If this journal is visible, please do ping us in the chat. So we'll be conducting our very first experiment. And this experiment is purely simulation based. And the name of experiment is PCM, where PCM is an acronym for pulse code modulation. So when I pass this signal x of t over a stage called as sampler, I'll in turn end up with something called as discrete signal. I'll in turn end up with something called as discrete signal, where instead of t, we'll represent this as NTS. We'll represent this time axis as NTS. So this is just in order to represent discrete nature of the signal. This is just in order to represent the discrete nature of the signal. And right after that, this signal will in turn be passed through one more stage, that which we call as quantizer. We'll be calling this as quantizer, where this discrete signal that which we are having, they'll be associated with amplitudes that which are continuous in nature. All these amplitude values, if I think of this to be some A1, A2, and A3, so all these amplitudes A1, A2, A3, they'll all be, so all these signals will, all these amplitudes value, all these, so I can think of these as amplitude values. So these amplitude values will be continuous. Will be continuous values. But instead of having continuous values, we can have these continuous value rounded off to a certain value, rounded off to a certain specific value when we pass these discrete signal via something called as quantizer. And in fact, here back in quantizer, we'll be converting discrete signal to digital signal. We'll be converting in the second step, step number second. So we'll make use of quantizer, where when we pass this discrete signal, so this discrete signal that which we have, where this discrete signal that which we have will be converted to digital signal, and in fact, so we won't be getting this digital signal straight away. So here I can call this digital signal as quantized output. I can call this output as quantized output. And later we got to pass this quantized output. So here I'll be getting quantized output, that which has to be passed through an encoding stage, in order to get our digital data, So finally, in the third step, we got to make use of an encoder. That which can convert quantized output to digital data. So these are the steps that which are involved, and in fact I can represent this quantized output as x subscript q of NTS. So here discrete signal was represented using the notation x of NTS, and here just in order to represent the quantized output, we are using this subscript q of NTS. So we all know this, and here for our program that which we are about to simulate in MATLAB, we are sticking on to something called as uniform quantization. Again, in quantizer, we are having two kinds of quantizer. One is uniform, the other one is non-uniform. So uniform quantization, and the other one is non-uniform. So when we compare this uniform quantization, so this uniform quantization leads to something called as quantization error. Because all we are trying to do is we are trying to round off the values that which are continuous in nature to a specific level. So this leads to something called as quantization error. And if I were to minimize this quantization error, we got to go to something called as non-uniform quantization, where I hope you might have studied something called as A law compounding, A law as well as mu law compounding. So because if we are having a high frequency signal, if we are having a high frequency signal, we got to make use of high sampling frequency, and if we are having low frequency signal, we got to make use of low fs value. So if we are having a signal that which contains both high frequency signals as well as low frequency signals, we are forced to go for non-uniform quantization, because uniform quantization in turn will result in quantization error. And in order to minimize that, we are having non-uniform quantization, that which is out of scope right now for our PCM, because we'll be sticking on to uniform quantization for time being. Okay, well, so now let me open up my MATLAB. So let me first close these windows. So this is where I'm having my MATLAB. So just by double clicking on this MATLAB, I can make it run. And we can find the related program in our ADC classroom. In our ADC lab classroom, we can find the lab manual, wherein we have already quoted the program related to PCM. So all we got to do is go to this classwork, and in this classwork tab, under the topic manual, we have prepared part B of ADC lab manual, where you got to open up this PDF part, So this contains, let me open up pen tool. So this manual contains only part B experiments of your ADC laboratory, and part B is all about simulation experiments. So all you got to do is you got to open up this PDF. You got to open up this PDF part, and I hope you can find these 3 vertical dots. So let me zoom this. So I hope you can find these 3 vertical dots over here, so that when you hover your mouse onto it, you can get a finger where it is asking for more actions. So when you hit that 3 vertical dots, you got to select open in new window. So when you do so, this manual will open up in one more tab. And all you got to do is, you can find this download button over here. You can find, again, you got to hit on this 3 vertical dots, and you can download this manual. So I want you guys to repeat this procedure in order to download the manual. So after downloading this manual, so let me open up this part B of our manual. So in part B, we are having our very first experiment, that which is pulse code modulation and demodulation. So we are about to realize that. And this pulse code modulation is a method that which is used to convert analog signal to digital signal, so that a modified analog signal can be transmitted through a digital communication network. PCM is in binary form, so there will be only 2 possible states, high and low, that is 0 and 1. we can also get back our original analog signal by demodulation. So the pulse code modulation process is done in 3 steps. The very first step is involved is sampling, followed by quantization, then followed by encoding or just coding. So here, for example, we have taken a sinusoidal waveform that which is in this form. So here we can sample this. We can sample this in a lot of ways. So sampling can be done either by using impulse or by using flat top or by using natural sampling. So here is an example that which shows flat top sampling. So where we are trying to sample this, where we are trying to obtain some samples over here. And all these samples that which we have will be rounded off to a specific quantization level, and this quantization levels are in turn represented in terms of binary levels, and finally all these binary values will be considered. So because the very first sample is somewhere over here, that which is related to value 011. So the very first sample value is 011, then followed by so this is our very first sample value 011. The second sample value is somewhere over here, that which is 010, 010. Third sample value is somewhere over here, that which corresponds to 001. So 001. So this is how encoding is done. So this is how finally encoding will be done, and this data will be transmitted over a digital channel. So this will be transmitted over a digital channel. So this is the algorithm that which we are having, wherein initially we'll close, if at all, if we are having the previous programs windows open, and we'll be clearing the command window or the commands that which we have entered in the command window. So for that, we'll make use of close all and clear all. Then followed by here, we'll first ask the user to enter the kind of PCM system we are trying to make use of. So here, in general, it's n-bit PCM system, and here we'll assume that we'll make use of 3 bits. We'll assume that we are making use of 3 bits in order to represent each level. So back here, each level over here, each level that which we have here, level number 2 is represented by using 3 bits, or any level for that case is being represented using 3 bits. And in fact, we all know this formula, that is L is equal to 2 power n, where n represents the number of bits used, where n is number of bits used. And if I substitute the value of n as 3, this leads to 2 power 3, and 2 power 3 is 8. So this in turn results in 8 levels. So how many levels are involved here? 8 levels. So starting from 0 to 7, 8 levels. So here we got to enter. So this is an inbuilt function. So this input is a inbuilt function that which will accept the value that which we are trying to feed, and will be stored in the variable n. So here n, let's assume that n is equal to 3, and we are also supposed to enter the number of samples for a specific period. So how many samples am I supposed to obtain within a single period? So if I consider sinusoidal waveform, so I can think of this as one full cycle. I can call this as one full cycle. And within this one full cycle, how many samples am I supposed to have? So that number is n1. So here let's assume that n1 is equal to 16. Let's assume that n1 is equal to 16. And in turn, after entering these two values, all we are supposed to do is only enter these two values. And rest of the job will be done by our algorithm. So where the number of levels is decided by the formula L is equal to 2 per n. So where n value, if it is equal to 3, in turn, this results in 8 levels. And later, here we are supposed to assume an analog signal. We are supposed to generate an analog signal. And just for mathematical analysis, and just because of it's easy to analyze or realize mathematically, so we'll take the aid of sine waveform. We'll take the aid of sine waveform, to which we got to enter theta value, because this in turn is what sine theta. Only if I vary this theta, I can have some output over here. I can have some output over here, or I can have this waveform y. So because I want different values of theta, I'll make use of this colon function. I'll make use of this colon function such that the very first number over here and the last number over here indicates the start and the end of that waveform. So here 0 is the start of the signal and 4 pi is the end of the signal. So here, just because you can see that it's 4 pi, that which indicates a single cycle starts at 0 and it ends at 2 pi. And if I extend this, and if I consider one more cycle, over here, so I can think of this as a single cycle that which starts from 0 to 2 pi, where 2 pi represents 360 degree. So this forms one full cycle. And if I consider one more cycle, so this ends at 4 pi. This ends at 4 pi, or 2 times that of 360 degree. I can also rewrite this as 2 times that of 2 pi, and in turn it's as good as 2 into 360 degree. So for this experiment, we are trying to consider 2 full cycles. So this is our first cycle, and this is our second cycle. And we are trying to create different values of theta over here. We are considering different values of theta. And that theta value is 2 pi by n1. And that theta, and we are trying to vary this theta as 2 pi by n1, where we have assumed that for a single cycle, we got to have 16 samples. We want 16 samples for a single cycle. And because we have considered 2 such cycles, on a whole, we want 16 more samples over here. And that means finally, we got to have 32 samples. So that is what this line is doing. This line of code is doing. So here n1 number of samples have to be selected. And finally, we'll create this waveform that which is given as 8 times, because we are trying to fix the amplitude value, the maximum amplitude value as equal to 8, because we know that the maximum value that a sine function can take is value equal to 1. But this 1, if I'm trying to represent it graphically, it will be very, very less. So we are trying to boost it up using some scalar value. This is some scaling factor, that's it. So just by multiplying it by 8, we are trying to fix this value. Okay, or in other words, we are trying to fix this maximum value is equal to 8 and least value is equal to -8. Or in other words, this will be Vmax and this will be Vmin. So after getting sampled output for all the values of x, so for all the values of x, we'll be getting a plot that which we call as sampled output, and we'll make use of function called as subplot. So this function subplot is used So just by using this subplot, so by using this function subplot, it actually creates, so this number is row and this is column number, and this number indicates which cell am I supposed to select, cell selection value. So the subplots creates 3x1. It creates 3x1 window such that it has 3 rows, and only one column. So this is first row, second row, third row, and only one column over here. And this number over here indicates the cell selection. So here we are sticking on to we want our first diagram to be printed or to be displayed in this cell. So this is cell number 1, cell number 2, and cell number 3. So in cell number 1, we are trying to plot. So again, this is a keyword called as plot. And if I use the keyword plot, only continuous signals will be plotted. So the keyword plot is used to plot continuous signal values. So, and hence here we'll get our continuous waveform displayed over here. And we can also pass. So as you can see, the keyword that which I'm trying to pass is sampled out, and I want that curve to be of red in color. So I can also indicate the line color. I can also indicate the line width as equal to 3, as well as I can also have grid on. So grid on only enables something called as grids back in the background. So it enables grids back in the background. So we can, just by using this grid on statement, we can do this. And we can use few more additional built-in functions called as ylabel as well as xlabel in order to label y-axis and x-axis. So here we'll have our x-axis labeled as time. As you can see, we got to pass string over here. All these are what? Strings. Something that which is written within this single quotes can be thought of as string. And y-axis here is labeled as amplitude. And the title for this very first figure is analog signal. So this is what we'll be doing. So after plotting this waveform, the second waveform that which we need is a discrete signal. Right after cell number 1, wherein we'll be displaying continuous or analog signal, where we'll be displaying analog signal. Right after that, in cell number 2, we want discrete signal to be plotted. And in order to plot this discrete signal, we'll make use the keyword stem. We'll make use the keyword stem over here. So the difference between the keyword plot and stem is that we'll use plot in order to plot continuous values, whereas we'll make use of the keyword stem in order to plot discrete values. And in fact, we are passing the same argument over here, because here we're passing the same argument, that which is sampled output. And we want this to be in red in color with line width of 3 as well as grid on. Only thing is, we'll be changing the title as sampled signal. This entire thing is copy paste. So this entire thing is copy paste. All I'm trying to change is this number over here. All I'm trying to change is this number as well as this keyword, that which is stem, then followed by this title, that which is sampled signal. So after doing all of this, we'll set the Vmax value. So the Vmax value is 8 over here. So this Vmax value is 8 over here. And we all know this. Why is this 8? It is 8 because of this number. Because we have used scaling factor equal to 8. So this by default makes us Vmax value as equal to 8. and in turn our Vmin value will be equal to -8. So it's as good as this. So you can see that our Vmax value is 8 and Vmin value is equal to -8. And after that, we'll be defining our step size, and the step size can be got by. So right now we have fixed this part where Vmin value is -8 and Vmax value is +8. And next we got to define something called as delta, and this delta defines the step size. So that which is given as Vmax is 8 minus of Vmin value is -8 divided by L, number of levels. Number of levels is again 2 per n, that which is 8, and in fact we'll get it as 16. 8 plus 8 is 16 by 8, and in turn this will be equal to what? 2, that which indicates. So if this is zeroth value, so here the very next value on to the right is 2 followed by 4, then followed by 6. In a similar way, value on to the left is 2, -4, and -6, and finally -8. So this is what our step size is trying to do. So right after fixing this delta, that which we got as equal to, we got to determine something called as partition, because we got to pass on this argument partition as well as code book onto a function, onto an inbuilt function called as quantize. So where this is our second argument, partition is our second argument, and code book is our third argument. And to this, our very first argument will be the sampled output, that which we have got. And using the inbuilt function quantize, we'll end up with, it returns two values. One is index, the other one is quantized variable. And we'll see, and we'll have a better idea if I make you familiar with the code part. So now let's open up. I hope MATLAB has been opened. So this is the code part. I hope till here we did got to know. So till here we did got to know about the code. So now let me just run this code thing. So if I run this, it will prompt you to run this. So to run this file, you can either change the MATLAB current folder or add its folder to MATLAB path. So all you got to do is select add to path option. So select add to path option. And right after that, down here in the command window, you can see that it is prompting me to ask the n value, because this statement, I'm getting this statement because of our very first statement, our algorithm, wherein initially I'm asking the user to enter the n value. So here, let's enter the n value as equal to 3 and hit enter. And right after that, it will ask me to enter the number of samples for a specific period. So let that be equal to 16, and let's hit enter. And when the code compiles, we'll get this sort of figure 1 and figure 2. In figure 1, we can see that it's a 3x1 kind of subplot, where the very first plot is an analog signal that is continuous in nature, and you can see that we are having 2 cycles. So this is the first cycle, and this is the second cycle. And we have got this sort of continuous plot by using the keyword plot. By using the keyword plot, we'll get continuous waveform. Whereas in the second cell, you can see that we have got a similar kind of thing, but that is discrete in nature. And this discrete nature we are getting this by using the keyword stem. By using the keyword stem, we have got this. And you can see that how many samples am I having within a single period? I'm having 16 samples for a single period and 16 more for my second period over here. And all these are continuous in nature. So all these are continuous in nature. And in our third cell, this is the quantized output, wherein the output, so here if I zoom in, so this is span tool. So the hand mark that which you can see is span tool. So I can adjust this. So you can see that my sample at time interval 1 is 0, whereas at 2 is 3, and some third sample is somewhere around 5.8. This is somewhere around 5.8. So this is continuous in nature. So this is somewhere in between. So here, let's have a look at our quantized signal. Let's have a look at our quantized signal specifically at time interval 3. So let's have a look at this thing in our next plot. So now you can see that at time interval 3, so it has been rounded off to. So this value that which we had has been rounded off to a specific amplitude value that which is equal to 5. So likewise, a similar kind of thing will be done for each and every other continuous value over here. So this is figure number 1. So this is what is happening. This is what is happening in this statement, that is index followed by quantized. And for that to happen, we are using this inbuilt function called as quantize. And in order to have a better idea of this, what actually this function does, we can go to this command window and type doc space quantize. So if you are worried about any kind of inbuilt function, all you got to do is type doc followed by space, then followed by the keyword that which you want, and hit enter. So if we do this, the MATLAB will open up its own documentation. It will open up its own documentation where we can have a better idea about this function quantize. So here this function quantize, it is used to produce quantization index and quantized output value. And it has 3 different syntaxes where we are sticking onto our second syntax, where you can see that it returns 2 values, and to which we are trying to pass 3 different arguments. One is signal. The very first argument is signal, followed by partition, then followed by codebook. So we are making use of this syntax, and you can have a better idea if you go through this documentation. Or let's have a look at this example, wherein to this quantize function, we are passing on, the starting thing is a signal. We are passing on a signal that which has value 3, 34, 84, 40, and 23, and to which partition value is 10:10:90, then followed by the codebook value is 10:10:100. So all this command line is doing is, so the command below rounds several numbers between 1 and 100 to nearest multiple of 10. So quants contains rounded numbers, and index tells which quantization level each number is in. So here, this is our signal. So this is our signal value. Right from here to here, we are having signal. Now let's see what is happening in this process. All we are trying to do is, this command will round off several numbers between 1 and 100 up to its nearest multiple 10. So it so happens that it will round off to multiples of 10s. Multiples of 10s is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So where we can think of this as zeroth level, this as first level, this as second level, third, fourth, fifth level, sixth level, seventh level, eighth level, and ninth level. So this number over here represents the levels, or in other words, it is trying to represent the index. It is trying to represent what? Something called as index. So now, what is our very first value? The very first value is 3. And if the very first value is 3, this has to be rounded off to nearest multiple of 10, that which is equal to, if my input is 3, if my input is 3, it will be rounded off to, so let me change the color. So this 3 will be rounded off to this 10. It will be rounded off to 10. So because of that, if my input is 3, my output will be 10, and its index value will be 0, because this 10 is at 0th level. Likewise, my second input is 34, and if my input is 34, then and its nearest multiple of 10 is 40. So thereby here I'll be getting output as 40, and it's at what level? Third level. Likewise, next input is 84. If my input is 84, the nearest multiple of 10 is 90, that which is somewhere here, and it's at 8th level. So the output is 90 and it's at 8th level. Finally, for 40, because it straight away matches to the multiple of 10, so the output is 40 as it is, and it's at 3rd level. Finally, 30 is exactly matches this, and it's at 2nd level. I hope you got a idea of how exactly quantization is happening over here using the keyword quantize. Okay, let me close this documentation of quantize and let me clear all these things. So in turn, this keyword is returning me index and quantized, and the length of index will be handed over to length is again a keyword, that which is just the count of that which just takes the count of this index, as well as quantized will be assigned on to L2. And right after that, we'll be doing some manipulations, that is to make index as binary to decimal. So we'll start from 0 to n over here, n 0 to n. So this part of the code does that, followed by, if there are some values that which are exceeding our vmin and vmax value, we got to take care of that. That is done by these two commands over here. And finally, we'll be plotting the quantized output. So whatever this is containing will be plotted. So that is our third plot. So you can see the cell value that which is equal to 3. So our third diagram represents the quantized output, and from that we got to convert all those decimal values to binary. And in order to convert this decimal value to binary, we'll again use inbuilt command, that which is de2bi, such that I'll be passing the index value onto that, and after getting values in binary, we'll be plotting this code. We'll be plotting this coded, and in order to plot it, we'll make use of one more figure. So here you can see that we are using this 2 cross 1 cross 1, that which creates two cells, wherein in the first cell we'll be plotting this coded, and in order to plot it, we'll make use of a new keyword called as stairs. And after that, in order to reconstruct, so this is encoding process. And finally, in order to reconstruct it back, we'll make use of a keyword called as reshape, to which we'll be passing the coded encoding, whatever encoding that which we have got, as well as n, and the length of coded divided by n, and it will be, the result will be assigned on to something called as dequantizer. And finally, we'll be converting this dequantizer to decimal value, so that we can get back our actual output, or will, even though we won't be getting the actual output, we'll get a waveform that which resembles our input signal. And in order to do that, we'll make use of all these calculations. So if I run this code again, so n-bit PCM system is value is equal to 3, followed by number of samples within a period is 16. So if I do this in plot number 2, in figure number 2, you can see that this represents our encoded signal. And from this encoded signal, we can reconstruct back our original signal, even though it is not exactly matching that of our input signal, but it is almost nearer to our input signal. So this is about modulation and demodulation of PCM scheme. I hope you got a better idea about this coding and encoding of PCM. So if you are having any queries, you can please unmute your mic and speak up a bit. Speaker, can you unmute your mic?
Yes, sir.
Okay, speaker, was that helpful?
Yes, sir.
Did you got any basic idea of PCM?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you installed MATLAB on your PC?
Sir, I tried to install, but somewhere some error happened, so I need to install it again.
So guys, if you are finding a problem with it, what I'll suggest is you can install one more software. Let me show that to you. So I want every one of you to type this AnyDesk, a software by name AnyDesk. So this AnyDesk software is used for remote desktop control. You can hit on this download now. So I have already downloaded this software, but I want you guys to download this software. And after downloading and installing this software, so this will generate a specific code for your system. And later you can pass over that number. You can pass over that number to me, and I can solve whatever error that you are getting. Amarappa sir?
Hello. Yes.
Any feedback from your end?
Tomorrow I'll continue the basics of MATLAB.
Okay, sir. Okay,
because
sir.
all the students are new to this MATLAB, and they have to learn the first basics of MATLAB. Today, the first experiment. Today, first experiment you explained clearly. So first experiment was okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, guys. Tomorrow again we'll have a session at 10:45, and details regarding the meeting will be posted in your classroom as well as in your WhatsApp group. So please do attend basics about MATLAB. So wherein you will be learning about all its environment. Okay, well guys, that's it for today. If you are having any problem regarding installing MATLAB software, please use AnyDesk software, and you just contact me personally such that I can take care of any sort of problem that you're facing. Okay, well, let's call it a day. I hope this was a fruitful session, and I hope you will execute your very first simulation program of pulse code modulation. So that's it for today. So take care of yourself as well as your family members. Stay home and stay healthy. Thank you all.